here I am, and here I go again, because this place is not stable, and a lot more money has to be exchanged for this type of thing. And there was usage granted, so, but as far as ownership, that's another story. You know, it's the crazy thing about real estate and the way people are in the world. You're either an owner, you're either a tenant, or you're a manager, somehow collecting the money for the other guy who's absentee. And the other possibility is that you just keep wandering, you don't pay anybody, you're homeless. But homeless is an interesting situation because it's not the stereotype of the lowest and the downtrodden. It can also be somebody who's superior. And I'm not going to give away the secrets of that yet, because that's very high level. Yeah, I know you don't know what I'm talking about, but not everybody who's homeless is beneath you. And what I mean by beneath or over, it's a question of, are they doing better with life? That's what superiority has to deal with. The assumption is that whoever has the most money is superior, but, you know, there's a lot that comes with that territory. Life is more stressful, and you have to deal with a lot more things. You have to set it up. Now, of course, if you're inheriting it, that's the easiest of all. People despise those characters. Trust fund babies, or, you know, whatever else you want to call them. They didn't do anything to earn it. They don't have to worry about it. They're just given money. That doesn't last very long, though. It's probably karma. They cut that deal with somebody, so you can't really despise them. Just for some reason, that's the position that they're in. They did something to deserve that now in this lifetime. They're born into that situation. Let's talk about the future, though. How we should be living. How we are in a system that existed a finite amount of time ago. Finite. That means there was a time within historical records that we didn't have this system. Interesting. So how did they live? Just live wherever you are. If you've got your feet on the ground and you keep walking, treading that ground, it's yours. And that has a lot of logic to it. It's logical. There's common sense. We don't do that now. It's not about just where you're walking around and where you build a house. Spiritually, what's happening? Spiritually, it's about control. Spiritually, it's about, some people have to learn things, and they have to go through hardship in order to make that realization, in order to be free. But nobody can be free, because it seems like we're all put underneath this chain, and then it creates a chain of command. And if there's a chain, who's at the end of it? Collecting all that money and enslaving all that sweat, blood and tears. Sweat, blood, and tears. Should some people be subjected to that, or should most of the people be subjected to that because they're trying to learn something, and when they've learned it, we can reach the future. If they don't learn it, we can't be out of the system. We cannot transition, because it requires a certain price to be paid. You have to pay. Did you? did I pay? I must have paid since I know something. You can't get to where you are and understand the bigger picture without paying. So I earned that right of awareness, of knowledge. Nobody knows nothing. Nobody can teach, nobody can explain, nobody can expose what's out there unless you go through it. You must have been inside it. You must be partially responsible. You may be the originators of a good intention system that went awry. Why? Maybe because you weren't really a good person and you just thought you were, and things became corrupt, and then everybody that you invited into the system became very corrupt because they knew how to abuse it and use it the way that was not foreseen. Any system can be corrupt. That's human nature. You don't have to call it human nature. It's the nature of the universe at this level of the evolutionary journey. When you have a planet put under a certain system, it is going to be a power struggle, a control struggle, and it's like any other Ponzi scheme. That's what a system basically is. Someone who gets to the top of the pyramid is controlling and then becomes corrupt because they're spoiled. You need to build in like checks and balances, measures so that you depose people out of power. So one of these things has come known as a term limit. But it's funny that probably our greatest president was not subjected to term limits, but after it, everybody who came to hate him and want to do something about it after the fact put in that measure and said, well, we don't want this ever to happen again, and no somebody that good. But also it's supposed to say if somebody that bad gets in, we only have to deal with them a maximum of 8 years. That's in the U.S. presidential system, the executive branch. But in a lot of cases there are term limits. Well, maybe not enough cases. And it's interesting that they want to, people are talking about reversing the term limits so that a system can allow for indefinite, possibly infinite hold on an office so that the leadership will remain the same. Is that good or bad? They already put it in. We pretty much understand why they put it in. And I'm arguing the fact that, human nature is a certain way. But is it? That's the question. Is it? Why are things the way they are with mortgages and real estate, having to rent, and people being, it's basically serfdom. Indentured servants. Serfs that work the land, that work, mopping the floors and everything that they're doing out there, this dirty work. Miss T came up with the name of Dirty Work. It was going to be a TV show. But the point is that there's a lot of jobs, there's a lot of servants, there's a lot of untouchables, like in the Indian caste system. These are systems of classes or castes. That's basically the same thing. High class down to lower class. And in the United States, we have something called the middle class. Or they have something. And all around the world now, there's somewhat of a middle class. So they're the people that have something, but they don't have everything. They do all kinds of various things to earn what they have or to take and steal what they have, and then they supposedly take up the brunt for the lower class by paying the taxes for the lower classes. So the point is, you're not in a category forever. You don't have to be. You can move from lower class to middle class and all the way up to a millionaire status and getting into the upper class, or you can move downwards. So it'll circulate both ways. And it's not like you're born into it and you're in it forever. That doesn't really exist anymore. they can try it, but there's mobility. We like to talk about the upward mobility, and then you think, well, you move through it, now you're rich, and you don't have to deal with all this stuff. You know, you're free of it. But actually, that's not the way to get free of it. That's a way to get more ensnared, entangled in the system, because you have a lot of money. You've got to worry about it. You've got to check your bank accounts. You've got to patrol your land. You've got to take care of your things. You've got to maintain your extra Rolls Royces, and so on and so forth. Well, at that point, you may be able to hire enough servants and mechanics and everybody else to watch your things, and accountants, and someone to keep an eye on the treasury. And you got a friend in all the high places and politicians and whatnot. No, I don't want that candy. Why are you trying to show that candy? This guy here was one of the biggest, richest ones ever. Let me see. He was the rich guy. What do you have to say? Sing a song. Volare, cantare. He acts shy. He's a very shy guy. Okay, well, that's enough for me today. That's enough. And if you want to leave your comments, make sure you discuss this. These are very deep subjects about how the world is run, and everything from residence to, you know, I didn't get into talking about building your own home, but people usually don't do that. They just occupy something that's already there, mostly by paying for it, getting a lease, some type of thing where they are making somebody else rich. And why is it that way? The banks and the political system and human nature. If you have anything to say, please share it. Think about all this stuff, because I'm going to be going all the way to doing a 24/7 network, and it's going to be called Real Show. I'm going to feature a lot of people, giving them situations and questions, interviewing them, doing satire, doing comedy skits, so that we can bring these messages out there and sell some products. It's commercial just as much as anything else, but you're going to enjoy the change of the look and feel of it, because I have that style to roll out there. Share this video with all your friends. Thank you for watching.